Ever since Annie got diagnosed with diabetes, she and her entire family have changed their dietary lifestyle, committing to eating healthier. While browsing the internet, Annie came across numerous articles about intermittent fasting and its potential benefits for diabetics. Uncertain about the accuracy of this information, she decided to consult a dietitian for expert advice. On the day of the consultation, Annie and her husband Joe arrived at Dr. John's office. Dr. John, the dietitian, welcomed them warmly. "It's nice to meet you both. Please, have a seat."
Thanks, Dr. John.
Nice to meet you too, Dr. John. I saw positive reviews about you online and decided to visit for a consultation.
I'm glad you did. I always look forward to meeting new clients. So, Mrs. Annie, what brings you here today?
The thing is, I've been dealing with type 2 diabetes for a while now. Recently, I stumbled upon information about intermittent fasting and its benefits for diabetes while surfing the internet, especially YouTube. I'm hesitant to try it out, so I sought you out for guidance.
You made the right decision to come for consultation, Mrs. Annie. Intermittent fasting can indeed benefit those with diabetes in several ways.
Really? How?
Intermittent fasting involves alternating between periods of eating and fasting by focusing on meal timing rather than food choices. During fasting, your body shifts from burning glucose to stored fat for energy, aiding in lowering blood sugar, improving insulin sensitivity, and promoting weight loss, which is important for diabetes management. Various methods of intermittent fasting exist, which I will adequately discuss later.
That's incredible. Does this mean my type 2 diabetes could be reversed with intermittent fasting?
Yes, in some cases. Beyond improving insulin sensitivity and lowering blood sugar, studies have shown that some people with type 2 diabetes who follow intermittent fasting can reduce their reliance on medication and even achieve remission. However, these results are best achieved when combined with other healthy lifestyle changes and under medical supervision.
So she might not need to take as much medication if she starts intermittent fasting?
Not necessarily. While intermittent fasting can improve her condition, it doesn't guarantee that she will be able to stop taking medications altogether. The results vary from person to person, and some people may still need medication to manage their diabetes effectively.
I understand.
Can you elaborate more on how intermittent fasting benefits those with diabetes?
Definitely. Intermittent fasting offers a range of advantages, especially for people with diabetes. It reduces inflammation, boosts insulin sensitivity, lowers blood sugar levels, and aids weight loss by cutting calorie intake and improving metabolic rate.
What about its effect on overall health?
Aside from diabetes management, intermittent fasting improves metabolic markers, fostering better overall health. Research even suggests potential extensions of lifespan, improved brain function, and protection against brain-related diseases by reducing oxidative stress and inflammation.
Impressive. But is intermittent fasting truly safe for diabetics? Are there any risks involved?
It can be safe, Mrs. Annie, but it demands careful planning and medical attention. Regularly checking blood glucose levels is important to avoid hypoglycemia or low blood sugar, especially if you're on insulin or other glucose-lowering meds. You should also stay hydrated and opt for nutrient-rich meals during eating periods to uphold general well-being. When managed properly, intermittent fasting is totally safe for diabetes.
Got it. Any tips for diabetics interested in intermittent fasting?
Absolutely. First, consult your doctor to create a fasting plan tailored to your health needs and adjust any medications as necessary. Start with shorter fasting periods, like 12 hours, and gradually extend to longer periods, such as 16 hours, to allow your body to adjust. Focus on balanced, nutritious meals, steering clear of refined sugar, processed foods, and high-carb options to maintain stable blood glucose levels.
Thank you for the tips, Dr. John. I'll definitely consult with my doctor before diving into intermittent fasting for more guidance.
That's a good decision. It's important to approach intermittent fasting with caution, especially if you have pre-existing health conditions. Always consult with a physician before starting any fasting regimen.
Hey doc, quick question. Can intermittent fasting replace insulin for diabetes?
Not quite. Intermittent fasting can't entirely replace insulin, especially for people with type 1 diabetes. Those with type 1 diabetes rely on insulin because their bodies don't produce it. Fasting won't change that fundamental need.
But what about type 2 diabetes, like mine?
For type 2 diabetes, intermittent fasting can be a great tool to manage the condition. It can improve insulin sensitivity and overall metabolic health. But it's important to see it as a complement to medication, diet, and exercise, not a replacement for them.
That makes sense. It's about creating a comprehensive approach to managing the condition.
Exactly, Mrs. Annie. It's essential to work with your healthcare provider to find the right balance for you.
Oh, one more thing. I stumbled upon an article about diabetes and cancer. What's the connection between intermittent fasting, diabetes, and cancer?
The connection is quite fascinating. Intermittent fasting may actually reduce the risk of both diabetes and certain types of cancer. It does this by improving insulin sensitivity, promoting weight loss, and reducing inflammation, which are factors associated with both conditions. Plus, fasting triggers processes like autophagy or cell cleanup, which can protect against cancer development. It's really amazing to see how these factors intertwine.
I think we should also talk to Amy's husband about starting intermittent fasting to prevent his cancer from progressing further.
Of course. I'll convince him once I begin mine.
That's a great plan. Intermittent fasting not only helps prevent the development of cancerous cells, but also assists in the prevention of other chronic conditions. Remember, listen to your body's signals during fasting and avoid intense workouts to prevent blood sugar drops. If you notice any symptoms, adjust your fasting routine accordingly or seek advice from your physician.
Thank you for the guidance. We'll be sure to follow them.
Anytime, Mrs. Annie. As I mentioned earlier, there are various approaches to intermittent fasting. One popular method is the 16-8, where you fast for 16 hours and eat during an 8-hour window each day. For instance, you could eat between 12 p.m. and 8 p.m., then fast from 8 p.m. to 12 p.m. the following day. Another option is the 5-2 diet, where you eat normally for 5 days of the week and restrict calorie intake to 500 to 600 calories on the remaining 2 days. However, I advise against the eat-stop-eat method, which involves fasting for 24 hours once or twice a week, as it might interfere with your necessary medications.
Oh, she won't be able to handle that. Annie loves her food too much.
Come on.
Some might consider the eat-stop-eat method, but I wouldn't recommend it for someone with diabetes. There are alternative approaches like the warrior diet, where you consume small portions of raw fruits and vegetables during the day and one substantial meal at night within 4 hours. Another option is spontaneous meal skipping, thereby aligning meals with hunger levels or schedules.
Thanks for the guidance on intermittent fasting. I'll consult with my doctor and start practicing soon.
My pleasure, Mrs. Annie. Intermittent fasting can be beneficial for managing diabetes when done safely. Feel free to book a session if you need further guidance. Annie and Joe thanked Dr. John, promising to return for more consultation. On their way home, Annie pondered how to start intermittent fasting to better manage her diabetes. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please subscribe and watch more videos on diabetes here next.